build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me ball, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty. This is episode 116. Joined by Colin tonight. Colin, how you doing?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Good, yeah. Right, we've Nate John tonight. He's taking the night off today, like fathering duties or some shit like that. Like he needs to get that bairn to grow up quick.
I know. I thought he was intimidated with the personality, the Hibs TV on the other end of the line.
Maybe it was that. I was devastated. I saw myself back on the TV. I kind of see the camera adds £10, but I can at least I'm wearing black like forever until. I'm making myself sick all the time as well. That's I can't get back on the TV until I sort myself out.
Adds 10 inches to the flare on the jeans, I know.
Somebody messaged says, "Hello, this is the 1990s. Can I get my jeans back?" I did have a shirt on as well, but it was fucking roasting in the studio with the big lights. So you didn't realise how much heat comes off of these things.
I take it Stuart Lovell never offered you one of his jerseys.
He only brought two. He brought one for him and one for Gordon.
I saw one lying on the table between you. I thought that must have been
that was Gordon's one, and he only put it on for the photos after. Like he kept his own t-shirt on for the programme.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he would have had my size as well. To be fair,
well, that's what I was wondering. I wonder if he's brought one anyway. Nah.
I've got a tent. That'll do. Cut some holes in the arms. It was a good day though. Good wee day. Right, what we've got on the agenda tonight, St Mirren. We'll talk about the game. Maybe have a wee talk about the atmosphere and the big screens and that. Why no? We've got talking points from listeners that they've sent in on Twitter over the weekend. And then look ahead to Dundee United's next game on Thursday.
Thursday night, yeah.
And then St Johnstone on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Busy wee time, eh? Busy wee time. Right, so what was your take on the game, Colin?
So I thought the first half was a bit dull. Like it was very slow, no real intensity. And then they scored. That was kind of the first half summed up. I actually thought I'd text you during it because I thought you might have a better view, obviously, where you were. But I thought before they scored, McGuinness was in the box, and I thought the boy had pulled his jersey. And I've seen it back, and I think he did pull his jersey, and then he slipped. You told me he slipped, and he did. But he slipped after the boy pulled his jersey a couple of times, and then they went up the park and scored. And I thought, could that have been a penalty? But never got it, and then. Obviously, a disappointing goal to lose, because I thought at the time, and I've obviously watched it since. I think Porteous he let the guy go. He just let the guy come inside and get a free shot away. And you could argue Macy should have done better with it because he got an arm to it and that. But I think you've got to stop it at like you shouldn't be getting a shot away. And I know the goalie is the last line of defence, so I know that, and then there's always the argument about near post and all that, but I'm thinking it's not really. No, it technically is his near post, but it's not. The boy was shooting for more or less the middle of the goal. It wasn't like he was coming for an angle on the side. You know what I mean? He was kind of central, so it's not really his near post. Everybody laugh at me for saying that, but I think Porteous has got to either stop him, tackle him, or push the boy at the byline because there's nobody for him to cross it into. I don't think in the middle. And I don't think that's his weak. I think that's his weak foot. He's let him on his strong foot to get a shot away. So,
and the boy Brophy, because I think he was any closer than Mackay-Steven was, but Brophy's obviously like a better player than Mackay-Steven, and he's put plenty of power on the shot. The McGuinness one was interesting because when I watched it from behind the goals, the pool and the jerseys for the other side, so I didn't see that. What it looked like to me is when you're watching a cartoon and somebody tries to run and the legs just go like this, but they didn't go anywhere. That was like he kind of did that and it just went down. So I was like, he's just lost his footing. But it would have been a soft penalty. But it's one of those ones. If VAR had looked at it, they'd have given it because they went, He's got a good handle in his jersey.
It's one of them. It's if you're outside the box, you'll probably get a free kick for it. So
Aye.
when you're inside the box, you should get a penalty for it because it's the rule. Like if it's a foul inside the box, it's a penalty. But I mean, it's one of nobody was really shouting for it. McGuinness didn't look like he was shouting for it either. And I know that wouldn't change the ref's mind, but it usually gives you an indication to whether they think it was a foul.
Aye, Harlan was having a good go at the referee after the goal though, so I don't know if he'd seen it and was.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I can't imagine McGuinness had a word with him about it, but McGuinness just got up and got on with it. You know, he wasn't claiming. The fans were got mental up
there. At who, McGuinness?
Aye, they obviously thought he dived. Aye.
All right.
They were getting pelters.
Because we were still talking about it when the boy was taking Porteous for a ride. We were sitting going, "How's that not? So no be a penalty?" I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's shot. It's a goal."
Aye.
That was kind of how it went, but aye, disappointed with that.
Porteous definitely. It was like Lingard scored for Man United. You see that in the defending there. They did the same thing. They showed him inside on his good foot and he just fucking fired it in. It's not that I'm comparing Profe with Man United players right enough, but it's more the defending that you'd pick up there. Keeper's not really got that much a chance, got a hand to it, but I think
it's coming a lot of pace in that, isn't it? So I mean, you could argue he could then try and bail how I would put it is he could be doing better to bail Porteous out, but that's what he's doing. He's bailing Porteous out. Because I think the initial reaction, certainly with some folk around, was like, "Oh, the goalie's got beat in their post." I think it's a bit route one sort of complaint, rather than what actually. If you look at the goal, and I've since watched Lovell on Hibs TV, and he hammered them. Porteous really didn't he for it?
Aye.
But I kind of agree with it.
It's frustrating, when you're in like a really good position on the attack, for seconds later to be conceding, especially the time of the game as well, just before half time.
I never felt like we were going to score, but I never felt like they were going to score in the first half either. And it was a complete breakaway, and then you go, "Oh fuck, they're just going to sit in now."
Aye.
Which they never actually done. Like they're quite. I think they're a better side than they get credit for. We were talking about that before the game. I know they've only got 3 points, 3 draws, or whatever it was before Saturday, but they're actually a decent side. I think they were nearly top 6 last year. They were wanting to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they've signed the boy for St Johnstone, haven't they? Tansy and.
He was a good player. I thought he had a good game. Tanzer, is that it? Is it Tanzer?
Tanzer, is it? Aye.
Tanzer, one of them.
I don't care.
Tizer.
The boy for St Johnstone.
Apple ties.
Go with that.
Aye.
Yeah. And Brophy and that the players for he was for obviously for Kelly.
Power for Kelly as well.
Aye, so they've kind of strengthened with the best. We strengthened with the best of the teams below us, and that's maybe what they're looking to do to go to the next level. They're buying or bringing players in for the teams they want to be better than. So I think they're a better side than they get credit for, and I think they'll be anywhere near relegation this season. But
no, I can't remember whether I said it on Longbangers last week. I always think St Mirren are better than their results. They're like they're one of these teams that tend to struggle to win games, but you watch them and think they're not a bad team. And that's what I thought on Saturday. I thought they had a lot of stuff I would praise about the way that they went about the game, even going behind and not letting their heads go down. Because how many times you've seen like kind of the shiter teams come, lose a couple of goals, and they're not coming back into it. I never thought we were home and hosed on Saturday at all.
Did you know?
Nah.
So I thought once we went 2-1 up, that was it. We'll be all right now. And even if I didn't see us scoring many more goals, but I didn't think we would let one in. But but disappointing. But the second half was a lot better. Obviously bringing Allen on and left midfield, but it did. You got to see what he brings to the team, because he just put a bit of intensity in it. Because there was no pace. He was dictating the game certainly for 20 minutes.
What do you think of the starting formation and the starting lineup? Because my thoughts were, when I saw the team, I was quite happy with it. I was like, that looks no bad, but it didn't seem to work. And then, like you say, when he brought on Allen, definitely that was the sort of the key moment in the dynamics of the game.
Aye, so no, I was the same as you. I thought, oh, good, Doyle Hayes is back. That's good. And obviously Scotty was replacing whoever had a good game last week. And if you're only playing one up front, then it's Nisbet that would start anyway, based on the current position we're in anyway. So I wasn't too disappointed. But then Boyle was out on the left to start with. I know they switched sort of halfway through the first half, but I think Boyle's best position, or only position, is right wing, right midfield, because he's just not as effective anywhere else. I know he can play up front and that, and it can catch teams out. Maybe away to Rangers or something, away to Celtic, you stick him up front because he's pacing. But I think he's most effective on the right, and starting him on the left, I wasn't keen on. Then when you think, well, do you start Allen? Then you get in the position you go in, well, I wouldn't start Allen left midfield, right? Because we got to see, what do you call it, the sublime to the ridiculous, really, didn't you? The chasing back once he just swung a leg and sat on his arse, and then the next time the boy scored the equaliser.
Yeah.
But you seen the two he created as well, or the not the two, but you know what I mean, the chances he created.
Yeah.
So you got both sides of the Scott Allen argument in 45 minutes on Saturday. So I think I would start him there, but then you start him in the middle, but then you stick McGuinness out there, so you're losing a bit of McGuinness's game to fit Scott Allen. So you're kind of, or just change the whole formation just for one player. I think that's Jack Russ's way. It's a really difficult one because we all like him in the like everybody gets excited when he comes on. Then when he does what he can do, like the back heel in the last game, or what he done on Saturday for 20, 25 minutes, whatever it was, you're thinking brilliant. And then when you see the second goal back on Saturday, you go, fuck's sake, man, boy, just pushed him out the road. So you need him in a position where he doesn't need to defend, right? So where's that? It's in the tunnel, but then you're losing one of your best players this season, McGuinness, for to fit him in. So that's the dilemma we've got.
It's an interesting one. Because the other thing I would say about Scott Allen is there are games, I fully like to say it, but they pass him by. Like there are games where, like, he's been taken off, he's been the one that's been subbed off because really he's done fuck all in the game. Do you know, and if he's no doing the bits of magic that he's capable of, he's not doing very much. And I don't know if you're wanting to finish third at worst. Do you know if that's where your ambitions lies, sort of third or better for the season? I don't think you can afford a player like that as a starter. I think putting him on second half when you're a goal down, maybe, or do you try and get that performance out of him in the first half and get a couple of goals up by half time and then take him off and then put the worker on for the second? But I think the issue with that is I think it's disingenuous to say that McGuinness is just a worker, or the players that might go in his position. And if you're taking Newell out, for example, Newell's got more to his game than just a worker, or Doyle Hayes, or whoever he goes in for, Cadden, whatever. They're more than just like ball carriers or water carriers, whatever the expression is. So
it's a tough one. That is, and because I think he's been tried deep before as well, hasn't he? One of the managers did. So you couldn't say I'll stick him in for Newell, because Newell wasn't that great on Saturday. He had a good game last week, so he didn't have a good game this week, sort of thing. And you stick Allen there, he's too deep to affect play. And I think we said that a couple of weeks ago, or I did anyway, on this, that after the Livingston game when he came on, that maybe where he plays, when he plays, is in games like Livingston, St Mirren, Dundee, Ross County at home, where they're going to be tougher to break down, they're going to set up to defend. So we have a guy who can open them up. But when Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, maybe even Aberdeen, certainly away from home to those teams and the other teams as well, that's maybe noise where he's on the bench, just in case.
Aye, but then you say that, you look back at historic Scott Allen at Hibs, games he's had against Hearts where he's been quality, being did 4-0 against Rangers. Where
I know, but it's a different time, isn't it?
Aye,
it's not the same guy, is he?
It's not the same Rangers either, Ken. I mean, this is, I suppose you've got that. They're better, and he's not as effective. I think it's a really difficult one. I also think there's an element, and I think Jack Ross is the only one to have this issue, where because he's such a fan's favourite, I think managers get reluctant to play him because they want to show that it's my team. I don't know, just like appeasing folk. And I kind of sounds like petty, but I always think there's a wee element in that. And it made Heckingbottom when he subbed Scott Allen that time, and he fucking made the point in the press after it. He was like, "Oh, I didn't think I wasn't allowed to sub him."
That was a game we won the at, mind. We went to see Top Flight Time Machine up in and we weren't at the
No,
game.
that wasn't that one. I was definitely
Was it
that
not?
one. Aye, because he
Was it?
played.
Oh, yeah.
He played him on the right of midfield. He played him
Right.
on the right of midfield and hooked him fucking early.
St Johnstone, was it?
I
Aye,
mean,
and he took him off and he got booed. Aye, when he took him off, eh?
aye, and then he spoke about it after. But I think there's an element of, I don't care how much, whether it's a subconscious thing, but I think managers do that with good players. You see, like Pochettino sub Messi, for PSG, and I think they just do things like that to kind of show, like I'm not going to buy all the hype. So
the fans do it. The fans do it though, right? So you can read the message boards on Twitter and all that, and or even round about you in the ground, and you get there because we were just talking there about the two sides of the argument, and we got to see. So the people that want him in the team, and we'll get no doubt there'll be talking points about it, right? That they'll be saying, why is he not playing? Look at what he's just done. Look at that ball for McGinn's goal. But then you'll get the other one saying, well, they never tracked that boy back, right? And that's but they'll see that side and they'll focus on that side. But you've got to have a look at it and say, well, there's a balance here. He's created 2 goals, but he's cost 1. Well, he never cost 1. That we'll come at that. Spot as well.
we will.
I don't think some folk will say that. I don't think he did cost it, but the others will. I don't think he was fully to blame for that.
No, I would agree. There was probably others to come in before Scott Allen, although he contributed to it. I think it's one of these things where I would be sad if there was a time there wasn't a place for Scott Allen and the Hibs team. Like when he nearly went to St Mirren, that deal, you've seen it. And I like the boy McGrath, although I didn't think he did much on Saturday. I noticed, and I was trying to kind of keep a wee eye out for him. I would have been sad to have lost Scott Allen, even though I like the idea of the boy McGrath coming in. You would want to see him, and especially when he plays like he did when he was at his best on Saturday. You would go, fuck, how would you know when to watch that in your football team if you like football? I mean, that's probably the way I would look at it. So we just need to find a 12-man formation. You just fit him in and didn't sacrifice anybody.
Hope the referee doesn't count them.
Aye. But the first half there wasn't really that much else. Nisbet had a wee shot on the volley, didn't he? That was like the chance he had against Hearts, where he kind of swung at it.
I think he mistimed it, or he was in front of it, sort of thing, eh? And he had that wee run as well. When he had a wee run and dipped the shoulder, but the boy got a block on it. But that was about it. I thought he looked a wee bit in the first half, a wee bit sort of disinterested at times, like he was. He came to life more in the second half. But then even then,
he was getting awfully frustrated. He came with the arms gone and everything. There was a few times where off the ball, and the ball didn't come to him, but he'd make a run, peel away into a bit of space, can get the signals to can play the ball here, and then get it for fuck's sake when it didn't come to him. I didn't think he had a very good game. I liked his wee run that you referred to there, where he dropped the shoulder and I think he played it through the boy's legs and got the shot away. That was good. You like to see a wee bit more of that from, I think. But
he's good at that close control sort of stuff and getting a shot away early in that.
Aye, because he's not quick, but he's got quick feet. Do you think he misses having a forward with
him? I think, well, he did play. They did play at their best last year when the 3 of them were up there, Boyle and Dodge, didn't they? They were all scoring. He probably does. But I don't know if we can always play with 2 strikers either. Maybe at home, you could argue at home. But then we've had that debate as well. It's like when you've got Boyle and like Cadden in the attacking position and McGuinness getting forward, it's not like we're playing one up front. It's 1 striker, but it's like 4 attacking players. So it's just the way you look at it. Because I mean, you could then say when Doidge is back, Nisbet could play where McGuinness is playing, and it's not really it's still not 2 up front, but Nisbet's quite good at picking some of the wee passes for the deeper position as well.
Yeah.
So it's not really. I know it's like 1 up front, folks say it's negative in that, but it's not when you've got 4 guys bombing on. But he probably does. It does appear to miss having Doidge up there with him.
I think he comes too deep. Sometimes there was a couple of times you were looking at him and he was picking up the ball when you're going, right, if you've got the ball there, who's going to score? Ken, you really need him between the goals.
I've not seen it all right, but I got a clip last night of Sky Sports News and it was Roy Keane and Souness and that, and they appeared to be saying very similar about Harry Kane in the Spurs game. Like they're saying, we're midfield, like I only caught the end of it, and this is what I picked up for it. We're midfielders, get out the fucking way. Get up there, because who am I got to pass to if you're not there? Stop coming back here and getting my fucking way. And that's kind of almost word for word what they said.
Almost.
But I think sometimes he is coming back, and it means then there's nobody. I'm sure there was one point. Am I imagining this? He almost filled in at left wing back or left midfield for Doig when he went on a run, and you're like, he's got to put the ball in the box, but
Aye, you need to be the one getting on the heater on it. Aye.
and he never ran. But then you think, well, maybe he's right to do that. I don't know if they're coming on the break, but like you're thinking, well, who's got to cross into? So it was.
Aye.
I don't know what it was. He didn't look, but sometimes like that, if it's not gone his way, he does like he can appear a bit stroppy at times when the way he's walking about and swinging the arms and that. I know you've got to let other boys know like you're unhappy, but I sometimes think that's for our benefit.
Aye, that's
I like it.
It's a team game, and you need to fucking.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the ball every time you want it. You just need to kind of keep going. Second half, we thought we got equaliser. Porteous header went in.
Yeah.
Thought we got a wee touch in it. Gave it as offside. What did you think about that?
Well, I know he's a friend of the show and all that, but I mean, he must be on. Were we talking on air last week about getting a $5 or a goal? Like if you're like,
I can't mind if it was on air or if it was off air.
Right, but Bairns get a $5 or a goal off their mum and dad or their grandparents or whatever, and it makes them greedy wee bastards. I think Boyle's on a $5 or a goal, because I can't see any other reason why he would have done that, because it wasn't going any. I mean, it was well inside the post. Like it wasn't like he's like just making sure.
Mm.
And like the angle I've got where I'm sitting in my new seat, we were right diagonally behind the Porteous header, and you could see it was in all the way. So I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know if it's been asked in any interviews or anything, because it's cost us in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's just greedy.
Aye, it's just like a wee moment of madness. And
Yeah.
I suppose there is an argument, right? If you were being kind, if you were of a mind to be kind, that you almost want the players to have that sort of selfish instinct around the goal, that kid, make sure it goes in, just fucking take the touch or whatever. But still, you have to have that bit of awareness about where you are, and if it's going in anyway, just let the fucking thing go in. You're on the line. It's virtually on the line. It doesn't need to knock it in.
I know, and there's no defenders near it, and it's not going near the post. It's not like it's nearly got to hit the post. It's miles in. And I get, it's instinct in that, but instinct is as well, if the ball's coming flying towards you, you might catch it. And they all manage to do that on a regular basis. So it's a bit of discipline. Like there, I think it's poor, and he should be like when they watch it back, he's got to get pulled on that one. Like it's shocking, really. Amateur mistake, actually.
Fortunately for him, though, he got on the score sheet with the goal for the penalty that Porteous won. Well, actually, McGinn's goal was first, wasn't it? He was equaliser. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Yeah. So, right, McGinn's equaliser. We talked about Scott Allen already. What about that ball in that he's played?
Brilliant. Well, we were sitting, and I was thinking, shoot. Because, like, you think it's coming out to him, he could bend that into the top corner. And he just dinked it over, and I was a bit like, oh. And then McGinn's and Akers. Beautiful pass. And McGinn just smashed it. Like, just, I think as you said on Hibs TV, just how you would have finished it as well. But it was he just smacked it in the volley first time. It was a beautiful goal. Like, I mean, the pass, it's just, I don't care if there's anybody else in the Hibs team could have picked that pass.
What was it?
Executed it. Maybe picked it, but not executed it.
Aye, Newell tried one first half where he tried to kind of think over the defender into the run of, I think Nisbet, did they come off? And that was probably the closest to that type of pass. But I had everything. The speed on the ball, the wee bit of spin to kind of hang it in the air. I mean, it just sat perfect for McGinn running on. He didn't even have to break stride. Just straight in. And what a finish as well, because he's going across the goalie, he's hit it hard, kept it down.
Yeah.
All on the volley. I mean, and that's a fullback doing that. It's a pretty impressive.
Really good finish.
Impressive finish. I thought McGinn had a good game by and large. We'll talk about the second goal, but I thought overall, I suppose it's a significant failing, but for the equaliser. But he was good for 8 to 9 minutes. I thought he put in a really good performance. I thought because McGinn came in for a bit of criticism earlier in the season, and I felt he was back to his best on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he was unfairly criticised. They had a
Mhm.
couple of maybe games where he wasn't 7 out of 10 because he's generally 7 out of 10, isn't he? If no 8. And I think he had a couple of games where he was a 5 or a 6, and that's when folk got on his case because he's no a fashionable player.
Yeah.
And he obviously got the international call, and that's where he gave him a wee boost. But it was a good goal, and I thought he had a good game in the main.
Right, Martin Boyle penalty. What do you think of Poch's involvement in the penalty and that whole situation kind of leading up to it?
Aye, I can't remember what he got booked for. There was obviously a bit of pushing and pulling and that, but I was genuinely. We were talking about it, me and my brother-in-law and my wife were sitting watching it, and 2 hours, 3 hours before that, I was sitting watching the Brentford Wolves game. It was on Sky in the morning, or DT in the morning, right, 12 o'clock, and Brentford got a penalty, the exact same as that, because it's a fucking penalty, and I don't know
Aye.
why anybody's saying it, isn't it? Because as much as, but before it, you're watching the pulling and pushing and pulling, you're thinking, no, he's either got to get a free kick to them. That's generally the standard. The defending
Yep.
team gets a free kick. But when you see it back, you think the boys just put his arms around them. Now, Poch he did make exaggeration of the fall, but the boys holding on to him like a
Both
rugby
arms
tackle.
round him. Aye.
So it's a foul, so it's a penalty. And how anybody, I've not seen Goodwin say it. I've just read that he said what Poch is making a living out of getting easy fouls or something.
Aye.
And now I think he is doing that to some extent, because that's how defenders have started defending in the last 10 years. You get in front of the striker, as soon as they come near you, fall down,
Wait for
you
the
get the free
touch.
kick, take the pressure
Aye.
off, right? And that's what they do. So that's the rules. So he's not winning. He's not winning. Well, he is winning easy fouls, but that's the fucking rules. And that one on Saturday was a foul. And I don't know why he's no hammering his own player for putting 2 arms around them rather than
Aye. Rather than try to call
anything
it
else.
Poch's.
But
The
even Jack Ross in the interview after the match was a wee bit like tentative in his response, because we left the game late on Saturday. We went round to the club shop and that. So by the time they get round to the Hibs interviews, we were in the car, and McLaughlin, I think it was, asked him, and he was like, I would need to see it back, and all that sort of. And I thought, it's a
non-committal.
Stonewall fucking penalty. But he
Aye.
did then stay. He was watching the game in the morning, and I think he said it was a championship match, but it was actually, if it was, I'm sure it would be the Brentford match, because that's what I was watching. And it's almost identical if you see it on Match of the Day or whatever. The first Brentford goal, the boys just fucking rugby tackles the guy. It's a penalty.
I liked how
No debate.
Poch just made sure the referee saw it though. And the thing is, well, we're speaking to Old Man about it yesterday, and he says, Poch has just been booked. The ref's not going to book him again. See, when he looks at that incident and you're going,
Yeah.
the decision he's making there is it's a dive and then an immediate second yellow and a red card. He's not going to fucking do that. So you've got Porteous then shouting at the referee, look at this boy, look at this boy. The boy's stupid enough today. Was it Power that was
I think it might have been. I think it was actually.
that grabbed him and pulls him down? And he did, like, he just made sure the referee saw it. I think that was the thing. He was fouled. It was a definite penalty. But you saw him celebrating. You could see he'd obviously kent exactly what he was doing for that whole sequence. Whether or not he meant to, well, I presume he never meant to get booked before it, but he definitely kind of set a trap for the boy and then fucking reeled him in, hook, line, and sinker. But good penalty for Boyle as well.
He smashed it down the middle. Aye, good penalty.
Aye, I like a penalty like that. Just it's hard to save. I think keepers generally didn't stand still. Aye.
No, that's the thing. In kind of penalty shootout, if you stand still once or twice, you probably save one or two. But the obviously when they never stand still in when it's in a match, so it's the safest place to go.
St Mirren goalkeeper went for the Teen Wolf look as well, like the boy at St Johnstone. I think this is a unique goalkeeper thing. So you didn't see many outfield players looking like Teen Wolf.
No, but they always say goalies are a bit mental, don't they?
Aye.
So
you see that, you look at Alan McGregor, and I'm not sure that stands up.
No, that's true. That's the exception to the rule, I think.
He's completely fucking rage. Right, so 2-1 up. And then I thought St Mirren came back into the game. They eventually got the because at 2-1 we were well on top. We were well worth it. So we'd effectively scored 3 times in about 15 minutes with a disallowed goal. But then St Mirren, I think he chucked on Curtis Main and I can't remember who else came on, like the other sub, and they were all very attacking substitutions for a good win.
Yeah.
And then, what did you make of the equaliser when it came?
They hit the bar before that as well, mind.
Oh, they did, aye. What did
so they were
the linesman put his flag up after that?
That was offside, I think, on the rebound. I think the boy was offside in the rebound.
Aye.
But if it went in, that was a goal. It was once it bounced down and the guy got a touch on it. The boy was on the goal line. I think. Got
Yeah,
offside.
all right.
But I think, but they were breaking away a few times in that second half. But at the end, the second goal. I mean, it's just to let the centre half just wander forward like he did. Alan went with him the whole time, like he did track him for their half to the 18-yard line. Then when he got to the 18-yard line, it was almost like he went, that's my job done now. We've got defenders in the team, so we'll let them take it over. Unfortunately, McGinn didn't go quickly enough to the boy, which was the same as Boyle admitted when he was on here a month ago, or whatever it was, against Dundee. Porteous and Hanlon both kind of went to the front post. I'm not sure if they both had a man, but they both were out the road. Alan left the boy on his Todd, and Doig isn't aware. So, and then I don't know, should the goalie come as well? I don't know, because there was that much else going on that I'm thinking, should the goalie come? So I don't know, but it's not like we've got. Well, even Marciano didn't come for those kind of crosses either. So I guess it's kind of maybe how they're not expected to, and they're thinking the defence will cover it. But there's a lot of goals we seem to be losing from that right wing coming in and Doig covering at the back.
Aye.
And I don't know what you do about it. Like, is it somebody needs to help him out? Like, I don't know, he's not understanding what he's meant to do, or he's not capable of implementing it. Obviously, if you stop the cross coming in the first place, it doesn't happen. But it's clearly, I think it's starting to become clear it's a weakness that we've got and that other teams know we've got.
Aye, they start to target it. I wonder if it's like the sort of thing, because young players that get talked through games, and normally it'd be so you would imagine Hanlon and Porteous would talk Doig through the game.
Mm-hmm.
McGinn didn't need to because he's experienced. But when they're facing the other way and Doig's behind them, they've not got the time to go and say, watch over your shoulder or watch for the centre half coming forward. They've got to just deal with their own jobs. And maybe it's just that experience and a wee bit of concentration. Because it was late in the game, so there's maybe a bit of fucking tiredness at play and all the rest of it. But
see, I'm a bit with Doig now. I think his head obviously got turned. Our head got turned Hibs, didn't it? And I think he come back and he played really well against Ross County in that first game back. I don't think he's been great since.
Yeah.
And I wonder if his head's a bit mush, and maybe we gave Jack Ross credit last season for taking him out the team at the right times, and I wonder if Stevenson's fit. I don't know if he is, because I don't think he's been on the bench or that.
He was on the bench on Saturday. Aye.
Was he?
Yeah.
He wasn't. Aye, okay, get him back in maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think he needs time out to get his head right and to think about how to defend the back post.
Because I think that's one of the ones you would expect Stevenson to put his body, like the body on the line type.
Aye. One of the diving ones.
Aye, just smashing into it.
I've seen back post. It wasn't even back post. It was fucking middle of the goals.
Aye.
And that's why I didn't understand how both centre halves are at the front post as well. You know what I mean? It's a bit.
They must just go with the runs, because I think Hanlon was dealing with Curtis Main. I think he went up against Hanlon. I noticed that. Probably like looking for the physical battle. I thought he had a good game, Curtis Main. I never really rated him, but I thought he did quite well. Aye, that was fucking annoying. And then it's that. So you look at the desire at that stage of the game, and it's who wants it more. You've got like a boy bursting forward to get the cross in, but no a full-back bursting to stop the cross. And then a centre half fucking bombing forward. Where you've got a
ambling forward. I think he ran fast at any point in that whole run.
Well,
it was like slow motion stuff.
He's still got himself into more or less a 6-yard box, you know.
So it's still desire, it's just not quick.
Aye, that's fair.
But I mean, it is, and it's middle of the goals. It's just so, and there's been Dundee, we lost the goal almost not quite identical, but very similar to it. And there's been others.
Motherwell.
I can't remember them.
Motherwell,
2 crosses,
the goals that we lost there.
So after losing none in the league last season, obviously the cup final was up across to the back post as well.
Yeah.
For that side, so it's a bit recurring nightmare almost.
Aye, you need to get it sorted. What did you think of the big screens?
I thought they were good. It was fucking blaring. The first day we got to the game, and I was trying to talk to the wife. Just like, right, just get up, because it was. But I seen Barry's been on Hibs.net saying they worked it out. They're just working out the volumes and that, and turned it down. The soundtrack was, the music was good. The quality of these screens will look brilliant under the lights, I think, as well, when we've got the women's game. I don't know if they'll be on for the women's game in a few weeks' time. It'll be in the dark.
I think so.
And then obviously I think we play Rangers or Celtic in midweek. That's a midweek game at Easter Road. That might be the first one. I suppose it'll be dark soon anyway at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Aye. Well, I think they'll look amazing in the dark, because even in the bright sunlight, they were still really bright.
Yeah.
Normally you'd expect the sun to kind of take a bit of that vibrancy away, but I thought it looked brilliant, much better than I honestly, I think I said it on the WhatsApp group that these big screens are going to be a fucking anticlimax. Everybody built them up.
Aye. I thought that.
Actually, when you saw them, you're going, fucking hell, they're quality.
Yeah, I thought that's exactly that. When you've got to turn up and go, oh, is that it? It's quite a wee screen or whatever.
Are you saying they were that loud that you couldn't hear the wife?
Aye, that was a benefit, obviously.
Do you care if they're available, like to can somebody from Hibs get in touch with us?
But it was, I mean, even I know the music's not done by Barry and that anymore, but it was a bit of TTF, a bit of House of Pain and that. I was like, it's like living in the 90s.
Oh,
but he said it's Mickey Gavin of Radio Forth that does it now.
Oh, well, that's
DJs
interesting.
of Radio Forth.
Because Barry had I put in a wee request for a song for a wee surprise for somebody, and he said he would put it on, and then that was at the last game. It never happened, so maybe that's why. Maybe this.
Yeah, no, he actually named the boy. It's Mickey Gavin. He said. I don't know if he's still. I think he's still on Fourth One. He used to be in the drive time or something, but he was doing the music on Saturday.
Well, I need to get in touch then, see what I can sort out.
Yeah.
I thought they really added to the atmosphere. It'd be interesting what they could do with them. I quite like I couldn't be trusted with the big screens, because I would be doing things that were fucking ridiculous. Like, do you know what they did?
Throwing a big cock in it or something.
Well, I mean, that's the obvious one. But, where was it? There's one of the WhatsApp groups we're talking about, Police Squad. Do you ever watch Police Squad? You've seen it? And what happens at Police Squad, right? So they have there's like a narrator right at the start, and the episode title comes up on the screen. But it will say like in the Murder in the Valley, and the narrator will go like Death at King's Hill. Right? So it's completely different. I would think things like like, so when you're getting the opponent's team sheet, it'd be like and the opposition manager Robbie Nielsen, there'd be a picture of fucking Chewbacca, and you just get all the players wrong and all the rest. I couldn't help myself, but I would fucking. It would be good. It would be good fun, but I couldn't be trusted with it. But there's loads of potential for, like, the show to be goal montage. Like, I didn't see it all because we were having to then obviously focus on what we were doing in the TV studio. But
did you have to focus on that? Were you actually practicing?
Never did any practice. So go on. Just ad-libbed it all. Because we were concentrating on that, but you could hear it in the background. The studio was pretty good at muffling the sound. So I was surprised when I heard about the stuff about it being that loud. I was like, oh, we didn't really hear it that much for inside there.
He says he turned it down at half time and it was a bit quieter. But it was good. Like, I mean, we can't complain. Like, we've been moaning that we can't hear anything for 3, 4, 5 seasons. So like, now it's too loud. Like, it's easy, you can turn it down, so that's easy. But the montage stuff, I don't know if it's going to be the same every week. I kind of took that for his post, but
because you want to mix it up, yeah.
It was about 7-0, 6-2 cup final, and then more recent goals this season and that. And I thought, well, obviously when Hearts are here, the 7-0 and the 6-2's on and that, good. When Rangers are here, we've got the cup final goal and all that.
The cup final.
But I don't know if they will change it or if it's just going to be. Because he was talking, I can't remember. You need to read the post. It was
just a big plate of sticky buns.
Aye.
See, that's the kind of thing they should be doing. I'd probably no way imagine the bother to get to for that.
But they were impressive, like they were good. They could have stuck used boys on. I wonder if they'll have used boys on the telly before the game, talking shite about. But I mean, you saw adverts on Hibs TV, yeah. So we get that during the game now.
That was my favourite.
Terry Healy and that.
My favourite.
Terry Healy stays over the road for me. That's another one. I'm talking about all football. Like, the wee video that comes on Hibs TV, it is Terry Healy gripping like that.
That was the.
I walked a duck.
That was the Boilers, eh? I was hoping I was going to ask me that because I was going to make a joke about being like completely different to the video I watched where a man turned up to service a women's boiler. But I didn't get the chance. That was my favourite bit of doing it was at half time because we were like, all right, that's injury time. You get the wee microphone back on and sit back up in the stool and everything ready to go. And Gordon says, "Ken, welcome back. That's half time. We're just going to take a break." I was like, fucking, I needed that break, but well earned.
It's like I mind that watching that last year though. It used to frustrate me. I tell you what though, like if we're on Hibs TV now, he's a massive improvement on Tanner. Now I never slagged Tanner off last year because I thought, well, the boy's a professional. Like, that's what he does for a living. I don't think that's what Gordon Smart does for a living, but he's really relaxed and comfortable presenting it. He's really good.
I thought he was excellent from being a guest point of view. So I was there for him about 25 past 1, right around about that time, and he was already there, and he'd made a proper effort just to put me at ease. Kind of like he was just chatting away. He'd obviously taken a bit of time to listen to the podcast, and so he could talk a wee bit about that. And so by the time it came to doing it, it just felt natural. I thought it was pretty impressive. He did a good job. Had some good stories as well.
I'm sure. Showbiz is out of the sun.
All
the bodies are buried.
No for a beating here, but all right. So the next thing is we've got Dundee United. In fact, before we do that, Colin, we'll quickly run through the talking points because otherwise I will have completely fucking forgot about them. I think most of them we will probably have covered at some point. So Edinburgh FM was the first one who said, who irons Matty's clothes? And my own clothes, thank you. Should Nisbet be dropped, and can they sort out the damn food queues out in the East Stand?
Nisbet? I don't think Nisbet's speciality is food queues, but they're dropping him to go and sort of... No, is it the same thing?
No,
they're dropping Nisbet to go and sort of the food queue?
Separate questions, I think, here.
Separate question, right.
I wouldn't drop Nisbet.
Who's starting in the stadium? Gullen
or Scott, it would need to be. But...
Scott wasn't even in the squad on Saturday, so... I wouldn't have thought so. That could be some of the problem with the lack of motivation, though. Whether it be intentional lack of motivation or whether it be a sort of subconscious, because he's not got competition for his place. But I don't know if we're dropping him. Who'd you start? Like, you're struggling because you're into Gullen, who I don't think Jack Ross.
I think he would have been happy to see him go.
Yeah. And Scott, we don't know yet. He was alright up at Dundee up front, but maybe Scott gets a run on Thursday night.
Did you go for food?
No, I never do, because I think I've said before, I don't know, like I don't eat normally at that time anyway. I think it's overpriced and shite. So no, I don't. But the West Upper is closed anyway.
Aye, well, Josh,
I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with that. So
Josh said he went down to get something and just sacked it. He said he went in and joined a queue, and he said the queues were that disorganised that he joined, and then somebody had a go at him for skipping the queue, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't there. Just joined it." And then he gave up because he wasn't getting served before half time. In Hibs' defence, I think they're well aware of it, though. I think they're trying to recruit folk to work to speed it up. But I think I might have opened the kiosks upstairs. Surely that would take some of the pressure off.
Well, that must be creating some of that queuing because you're doubling up, aren't you? And I'd seen the advert on. I think it was Kieran maybe put it on one of the posts on Hibs.net, and they're paying like a decent.
It's a living wage, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's a second job, isn't it? Because what do you get? 3-4 hours every 2 or 3 weeks. So it's not exactly, there's 40-50 quid in your minute. That's it. That's you for another fortnight, 3 weeks. It's a second job, and then so if you've got a job in, I don't know, fucking JD Sports or Sainsbury's or Morrison's or something, and you're doing that, then you try to work that rota around when Hibs are at home. You know what I mean? It would just be
quite hard to recruit for you.
I'd imagine it's really difficult to recruit. Unless it's the same company, unless they were to say but to Hearts, so you've got a job every Saturday then, and you've got Tynecastle 1 week and you're Easter Road the next. Can't see else how you get consistency of staff. But I think you said it before as well, they could take a lesson or two for how McDonald's run the queues as well, because I think I read that somebody saying they've got, you go and order it they take the money, then they go and get the stuff. Whereas you could actually do it as a conveyor belt. Somebody's
Aye.
running, just getting stuff. Treat it like a drive-through.
Aye, that's
Like,
like
you order here, you go and pay there, and you go and collect there.
you put somebody on the drinks, say, oh, you're doing this, so somebody will shout to you, give me 2 Cokes. You're just fucking
loads of
pouring the
Coke.
Cokes like that.
Aye.
Have them all ready to go. That's it. Or somebody came with the hot dogs, or I don't care. I've no been to the kiosk since they've changed, but I'm sure there's a way to do it, but you could speed it up. Even
It should be
having
quicker now. It's cashless and all that as well. It's like should be dead
having
quick.
order takers to go up the queue. What you haven't,
Aye.
you have what you haven't. So you can. That's getting fed through a computer
10
screen somewhere
Cokes.
where they could go and all that kind of thing. I mean, it kind of costs money, but you could do it. Steve McKenzie said, "Are people concerned we've only managed 3 wins with the fixtures we've had?"
I'm not concerned. I'm disappointed by it
Mm.
because I think we could have and should have won both those games. 2 of those games we've drawn. We could have won all 3 actually, but I think Dundee and St Mirren, we probably expect to win them more than we would expect to win at Tynecastle. So, and it's probably amplified the way Rangers and Celtic no winning at the weekend as well. It's made everybody a bit more pissed off about it.
Aye, because we could have
So
been
I'm not
clear.
concerned, but disappointed.
Neil Renton says the fact that we seem to collapse in the last 10 minutes of games, wouldn't it be better if we reverted to playing rugby?
You can't collapse in the last 10 minutes of the rugby game either, though.
But it finishes 10 minutes early, yeah.
Well, it finishes after 80 minutes. But
aye, the rugby players want to miss the traffic.
But I thought somebody would more about this, so I looked up late equalisers. How many do you think we've lost? The late equaliser. What do you class as a late equaliser? How many minutes on?
I would say last 5, between last 5-10 minutes, round about that time. So right. Dundee and St Mirren, I think, have done it to us
this season. Yeah. So if you go back a whole year, like back to last September,
St Johnstone or Dundee United did it.
Yeah.
At Easter Road.
Christmas time. Yeah. And Celtic done it in November.
Oh, of course, Celtic as well. We have to. Gray gave away the free kick in it.
So they were both 91 minutes, right? And then we've got 88 St Mirren and 83 was Dundee. So whether you count that as late. And Motherwell done it in the Cup in April, and that was 80 minutes. So again, do you count it? So a maximum of 5 times in a year, or 3 times if we don't count 85 minutes onwards.
So what we're saying is Neil's made that point to make the joke about the rugby. That's what I'm taking for that.
Aye, I bet you people are. Was he the only one?
I don't know. We'll come and see if there's more. There's quite a few points here. But that's good stats analysis there, Colin.
Thanks, mate. I'll spend time.
Did you do a spreadsheet?
No, I just wrote it in the notebook.
That's the kind of thing John would have on a spreadsheet.
No, I just went BBC Sport.
Good, right. Andrew McBee said keeper has to come for the cross. Although at that stage of the game, the fullbacks have got to do anything to stop the cross. That's poor from Hibs there. So we weren't sure about the keeper, whether they should come for it or not.
I'm not convinced about that. I don't know. Maybe he should. I don't know. I don't know if I would expect him to come for it because I'm thinking we've got 3 defenders in that. 4. We should have had 4 defenders in that box, but 1 stopped running when he got to the line.
Aye.
And 3 that didn't defend it. So maybe they should bail them out.
WTC 1981 says, have just caught up with the highlights in the cold light of day. Pretty disappointing result. That being said, the Gaffer's trainers are still immaculate, and we remain top of the league. # we margins. We're not top of the league anymore, but Jack Ross's trainers were still one of the. I think they were one of the few things in the stadium brighter than the screens.
Aye, definitely.
William said Nisbet looks curvy. Needs to work harder in training or in pressing during the game. We break so slowly too. St Mirren got the ball out and burst up the park to support it. Actually, so that's an interesting point about the speed of the breaks. So obviously St Mirren's first goal comes from our attack and seconds later it's in our net. Yep. I think generally we do break pretty quickly, but on Saturday we didn't. And I don't know if that was because St Mirren did a good job of stopping us doing it, but I thought we overplayed at times and didn't get forward into kind of dangerous areas as quickly as we could have done.
Yeah, it's hard. It's quite hard to break forward when a team are defending like
Mhm.
they were, though. I'm not saying they were standing on the goal line, but they were
No,
quite well
but
organised.
I thought St Mirren were. I didn't think they played to sit in. I thought they.
No,
Certain
I'm not saying that, but they were
yes.
organised. We couldn't. You're not hitting like we were getting hit in the break because we've got bodies going forward trying to get a goal. Whereas they weren't.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you break against that? You don't.
Yeah, you don't. And I suppose there is evidence when we were 2-1 up and St Mirren were chasing the game that we did break forward quite quick. So, like, there was a couple of times where we broke down the left or down the right, and a couple of like almost passes for Scotland. It was when he hooked over to, I can't remember who was on it. It must have been to Nisbet, but the keeper got to it just before Nisbet did. So I maybe I'm being a wee bit unfair. Peter Henderson said, once again, we collapse when the going gets tough. Weak mentality again shown by the players. So once again,
Well, that fits into that point I was trying to make
aye,
clumsily about the five times if we count 80 minutes onwards in a year. Weak mentality. Was it 44 weeks now in the top four? We
top
came from
four.
behind on Saturday, didn't we?
Aye,
That was a criticism. It's not the first time this season.
no,
So we've lost a late goal due to lack of care rather than a mentality thing. I think.
thing. It's an interesting one because you're like, I think we spoke about it before, but like kind of that mentality thing, or a soft touch gets kind of thrown at the players, and when you actually look at the evidence, like the stats, like the stuff you can measure, it doesn't really stand up. To, like you said, to kind of rattling off about the 44 weeks in the top four. But actually, I think last season we were one of the best teams not losing from a winning position. So we might have dropped points with draws and stuff, but if we got in front, we tended to hold on to it, which is why we finished third. Billy said Scott Allen was superb when he came on, but is he at fault for the equaliser? He is beaten by the runner far too easily. Also, Doig needs to be better. If it was Gogic or McGinn who made either mistake, Twitter would be in uproar.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Belton Lasker said, is Joe Newell the new Alan Unseen Work O'Brien? We did clarify that he meant Brian Unseen Work Kerr.
Kerr, that's right. Yes, well done. I think so. He had a good game last week where it wasn't unseen, but then I think it may be another couple of weeks till we get another one of those games, and that's what disappoints me about him because when he's good, he looks fucking amazing.
Yeah. Do you think he suits a certain type of game? Do you think he's like one of those players that if it's a certain, and I'm not quite sure what kind of game it would be, but there are certain games that some players come into their own. But if it's not that type of game, then they look pretty ordinary.
Aye, maybe I can't think what it is either because I'm thinking of one game he was brilliant, and I was raving about his mind at Livingston last season. It was early in the season, he won 4-1 or something. Nisbet got a hat trick early doors, and he was brilliant that day. So it's not like you can say, oh, it's on grass against the good teams because it's a shit team on Astro there. Whereas last week it was against Hearts in the big game on grass. So I can't think of what it is other than I just think he's inconsistent.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's unseen work because I don't know if maybe it is unseen. I've not seen it, so I don't know if he's doing anything. You know what I mean? I think the unseen work.
How do you see unseen work?
He's chasing folk about and he's making tackles. I think that was the argument, because that's not what Joe Newell was doing on Saturday. Having said that, I think Doyle Hayes was that great on Saturday either. But I don't know if maybe having two guys in a sort of more defence. Maybe that's how you saw the Scott Allen thing in those games. You didn't have two of them sitting deep.
Maybe. I thought
it's one of them that go.
Doyle Hayes looked like he was blown a wee bit. Kind of he'd been off.
Yeah.
With COVID, and I thought maybe it looked like he was struggling a wee bit for that. Jim asks, should we have had a penalty just before the first goal? So we covered that, and possibly.
Yeah.
Ian Bruce, centre halves AWOL again. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Goal, I think the first goal, the not a wee wall. It's just that they didn't do their job very well. The second one, they both ran to the front post. Now they might have both been marking somebody. I'm not sure. Like you think they maybe were. I can't remember. But they did leave Doig exposed at the back. But then I suppose they probably did have two strikers that they were marking because it was the centre half. It was the extra man they created. But I can't remember if they were AWOL or not. But they both weren't in the middle of the goal when the goal went in.
Andy Grierson said Nisbet doesn't want to be here. So Josh, as reply to that, who says he doesn't buy that. Put in the effort yesterday and was clearly frustrated at the lack of service. Once Alan came on, Nisbet started to get a couple of chances as somebody was reading his runs. So kind of both sides of that argument there, Colin. What do you think about Nisbet? You think he looked like somebody who was walking away?
I thought he looked disinterested at times, definitely in the first half, although having said that, he had a couple of chances in the first half. I can't remember any of his chances in the second half. And to supposed to back up the mind, he chased a ball down and then he didn't get to it and he just lay in his arse. And I think that might have been, he went up and scored after that. He dived, he ran up and he tried to block down the goalie or the defender.
Aye.
And he dived in and he just sat down and sort of waved his hands and lay back down as if to say, fuck's sake. And you think, like, get up. Not that I think he would have actually been able to get back in and stop anything, but I don't know. I don't know if he was. I think it's just his demeanour. I don't know if he is disinterested.
He definitely is one of those players that are like that. It just kind of looks like they kind of. Aye, it's like he saves his energy for when it's important. So one of those ones that can he use it when he needs to.
I can't remember many chances he had in the second half though. Ken, what Josh is saying, like when he was putting the balls through for him and that. My perception was that he was more lively in the second half than he was in the first half. But then when I think back about it, I think he had more shots on goal in the first half than he did the second.
Aye, I think he was just getting into better areas in the second half, but it's a fair part. I can't mind any chances that he had second half. Gordon McDuff, this goes back to your analysis, Colin. Sick to my teeth given last minute equalisers. For fuck's sake, need to score 3 or 4 to win a match because of players who can't do their jobs for 90 minutes. Okay, I think we've covered that one. Mal Bergen said, what the heck does Alan have to do to show that he's good enough? I thought he was a different class when he came on. Again, I think we talked about.
What else does he need to do? He needs to keep doing what he's doing that way, but work on what he does going the other way.
Niall Kenny says his point with staff numbers at the food kiosk, so we've definitely covered that. Kaiser Soze says Goodwin is a wank. I could have put it on Twitter earlier on, didn't get much of a response to it, but given that they haven't won a game yet this season, is Jim Goodwin the most ironically named manager in the league?
In the league, I can't think any other. That's a good one. What about it's English manager? What Kenny Jackett? He just generally gets sacked rather than packs it in. But,
there was so I asked. There's a Ralph Minge, who's the Dresden sporting director, which is a funny name. And Stephen Kuntz. And there was who was the other one? It was somebody Randy Lerner of Aston Villa. Or somebody said
German or something.
Good Willie. Ray says
no. Wasn't he the way? Give me
bad Bobby.
Fuck.
Ray Sunshine on Leaf said, not ironic, but my favourite of nominative determinism is Wolfgang Wolf of Wolfsburg, which is a decent one. It's like Arsene Wenger as well. Arsenal kind of got a name that's kind of like the club that he's managing.
Yeah.
Right, where was I with the points? Here we go. Right. Jeff Ashton says, before I start, can I say I like Joe Newell? He's a player. But yesterday, he's turned into a pound shop Ray Wilkins. Can't remember a forward pass, even when on an obvious pass looked on going forward. I'll watch the match again tomorrow and might revise this tweet. Again, I think we talked about Joe Newell enough, but that's fair enough. St Christopher, Scott Allen was excellent going forward and we needed it, but lost us our structure. What the fuck was that lunge at the halfway line when they broke away? Didn't seem interested, able to chase it down. We would have had a point if he came on or stayed on the bench. It was a great pass, though.
Yeah.
And Stan said, am I missing something? We were a goal down and going nowhere. Most of the team were abysmal. Alan changed all that. There should be others that do the defensive stuff, as for sure. Not one of them does the creative work. We are dull as ditch water unless Alan is playing. Dull as ditch water or dull as dishwater? What was the saying?
I thought it was dishwater.
I thought it was dishwater as well. However, I've seen a couple of times folk written down as ditchwater. So is this one of these ones?
Well,
either.
It's interesting. Text that into.
Text in. Send it in.
Well, we're no dull. We're no dull when he's not playing. We scored more goals than anybody last season, rather outside Rangers Celtic. And this season, we've been entertaining, getting rave reviews for sports scene and Mikey Stewart and all of that.
And we were sitting where we are because of the goals that we've scored.
Aye, so we're no. But when he's playing, he brings something else to the team.
Aye.
But we're no dull when he's not playing.
Corners.
And it's a bit of like the sport Scott Allen's or sport Hibs. And it gets to like we all like watching players like that. But it's no, he doesn't come before the team.
Yeah, this is true. Connor said Scott Allen in for Newell for me. He needs more game time and Newell is off it than now. Playing Scott in his natural position will get us goals and it'll give Nisbet a link-up option. I never want to see him on the left again.
What's his natural position? Who's he playing instead of?
Newell.
Joe Newell. He's defensive midfield.
So I think what you're saying there is take Newell out, push, let Jake Doyle-Hayes take that role like you were saying, maybe no need the two of them there and play Allen further forward.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be up for that.
That might work, yeah.
Aye. Stan said Nisbet needs to look at Doidge and see the effort he puts in through a match. He's sorely missed at the moment. I say so as well. I can't wait for Doidge to come back. He is so gutted because he was just hitting a good run of form. Aye. It looks like he's going to be back a bit earlier than anticipated, though.
Hope so.
Right, Dundee United on Thursday night, calling in the cup. Just come into the big game category. Do we think?
If we get beat, it's a big game. If we win, it's the semi-final's a big game.
Aye.
I think that's how it works. I've been reading up on it.
I'm sure I read, or they said on the radio, and I think I picked this stat up right, but I was only sort of half paying attention, as is normal for me. That Dundee United have only scored something like 4 goals or 3 goals, but they've been like 1-0 wins. So they're sitting quite nicely in the league at the moment. They've had no bad start, but it doesn't look like they're lighting any fires.
Jinxing this, so you try to jinx this.
Fucking, I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just trying to put some context into our Dundee. What are Dundee United a good team or no, Colin?
I don't fucking know. I have no idea. Taking any about other teams. I watched Sports Scene earlier though, and they beat Dundee. But Dundee looked like they had a few chances, and the goal they scored, Dundee should have saved. The goal should have saved it. But I think defensively they've got Mulgrew there now, haven't they? Is it Reynolds and that? So they've got decent like old heads in the defence that are probably holding them together. Maybe that explains the. Is Reynolds still there? I don't know. I'm now doubting myself. He was there.
No idea.
But I know Mulgrew is because he made a good block yesterday. It's up there as well. It's like we've not got a bad record up there recently, but it's one of them ones you think, away to Dundee United. It's not, it's going to be tougher. I take it it's penalties and that on the night.
Aye, it's played it's a winner.
Cup, so maybe it might go extra time penalties. Because I don't know what he'll do, Jinky. He'll just go first pick team. He usually does. He doesn't rest anybody. Does he?
To be fair, we've not got loads of options now with the injuries that we've got. So I think maybe you'll see
Cadden's back, if Scott's back, and then you've got Scott Allen pushing for a start. Maybe the goalie could change because he'd done that last year in the cups.
Yeah, Wood might get a game at centre half as well because I would imagine he's come up just to sit on the bench. I'd be interested. I hope Scott's back from his illness. I think he was ill on Saturday.
That's what they said.
So hopefully he's feeling better. Be good to get to another Hampden trip. Again, with fans allowed in, the 600 and then name that they were offering last time. So we should all be able to go to it. And I can't remember, there's no many teams will have got to, again, they were jinx it, so touch wood. Would that be 5 at the last 5 semi-finals? Hibs would have got to. Which is pretty good going.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. It's a good cup record. It's, as I've said many times over the last sort of 10, 15 years, we're a really good cup team. We're just a shite cup final team.
Aye. I really get over that, And then St Johnstone on Sunday. So St Johnstone, I think, have been fairly shite this season. They beat Aberdeen, but Aberdeen are also quite shite this season.
Yeah.
Stephen
Glass is feeling the pressure up there as well. It's did you hear him in his interview after the match?
Oh, he proper got the hump,
He putting words in my mouth and all that.
Aye.
He's definitely feeling it. I saw that the day on Hibs.net. Somebody said we need a Scott Brown type character in there to get everybody raved up and all that. And you're like, it's no fucking working up at Aberdeen now. But they seem to be struggling a bit, which is good. But St Johnstone have lost a captain and their best player for last season's team.
Aye.
Because the boy,
His
name's Alan McCann.
Aye, Alan McCann.
Kerr's the captain and
Yeah.
Alan McCann's the best player. I think they both left. They got shit teams in League One or whatever this season. So hopefully they're not strong for that reason. But again, I don't know if they're in our heads as much as anything else. Like the fan seeds as well. If they go ahead, everybody will fucking start breaking seats in that.
Was St Johnstone signed Effie Ambrose? Was it them that signed him? I'm sure I saw him get a game at the weekend. He made his debut, and I couldn't mind if it was St Johnstone.
I think it was. I'm just going to check that for.
It'd be an interesting one, considering like St Johnstone centre halves was like your head at kick it type centre halves. So weren't they? Kind of Effie Ambrose, you get him just to play the ball in defence. Aye. Yeah. So I wonder who we got on there.
It'd be interesting to see if they're trying to change their sort of style of play.
Aye, can't see it. Why would you? Do you know if you won a double, why would you be fucking changing it? But anyway, right, couple of things to wrap up. We still have a very, very limited number of tickets left for the live show on the 15th of October at Easter Road Stadium. Details are on our Twitter. If you want to buy it, £10 for a ticket. It's for short bangers, so there'll be no so much Hibs chat, but a lot of nonsense. If you want to contribute questions to that, can you send us an email with your question to longbangers@gmail.com, and we will read out the best ones on the night. If you're coming to the event, doors are at 7:30. There's a bar open all night. It's going to be folks seated at the table, have some live music and a lot of interaction, and it should be a good night all in. So go get your tickets for it, come along. Like I say, we still have a few left. We also have, thanks to the generosity of some of our listeners, a handful of tickets for people who would go, but maybe in a position to be able to do so. Perhaps you're unemployed or just following on some hard times or whatever. If that's you and you want to come along, drop us a DM on Twitter, or you can email us at longbangers@gmail.com. We'll no make any judgments. We'll not tell anybody you've got a ticket off us or anything like that. But we would hate to see anybody miss out that could come along. So just give us a shout if that's you. But we would hope to see you there. We will have short bangers on Wednesday this week because Hibs are playing on Thursday. So get your questions in on Twitter for that one. And then we'll be back with Quick Bang on Thursday night to talk about the Dundee United game. And then again on Sunday for St Johnstone, and back with Long Bangers next Monday. Have I missed anything, Colin? Oh, the women's derby, the 20...
Week on Wednesday.
The week on Wednesday, 29th, is it?
29th, yeah.
East Road tickets are free. Hibs are trying to get more than 3,000 in, which would be a record attendance. So, again, a game under the floodlights with the big screens hopefully on. An Edinburgh derby. Women's team are flying at the moment, not literally. So there's no excuses. Just get yourselves along and watch the game. Right. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time.
County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.